Thank you, Commissioner. And thank you, Governor. It's an honor. You and Casey have done an amazing job leading our state. And for those that aren't from Northwest Florida, it really made a big impression on everybody from the Panhandle that in the governor's first inaugural address, he specifically spoke to the recovery of Northwest Florida with Hurricane Michael. And his very first day in office, he was boots on the ground in Panama City, Mexico Beach, making the rounds, and he never forgot about the recovery of Northwest Florida. And he took that so seriously that it was his first official duties as governor of the state of Florida. And we'll never forget that. Commissioner Simpson early on had recruited me if I would go to the Senate. He wanted to support me. And we had lunch over at Harry's together. I was incredibly starstruck and humbled that, you know, a senator, for those of y'all don't realize it, senators are worth about a dozen House members. So when a senator wants to take you out to supper to talk to you about you coming over to the Senate, it's a pretty humbling invitation, and never forget that. And your leadership and what we've done together over the last 10 years has been really special, and it's been for the good of the state. James, the governor would not have accomplished what he has done over his term of service if it wasn't for you being the base load inside that office. I know he's the one who takes the hits, but you've been the one that's helped execute those orders to bring it in for Landon, and the governor couldn't have picked a finer candidate to be the next Attorney General for the state of Florida. To Robert, Tanya, and I'll throw Cody in the mix also. Thank y'all for everything that y'all have done. Now we've got Luke. Luke used to be a busboy at Captain Harrison's. There's had no coordination of him being part of the cabinet affairs. I show up one day and he's working in the office. I didn't know we hired him. But it's nice to see these young men and women. In the case of Luke, you know, they come into this process and they get married, they start a family, and they want to become part of being a public servant. To all the cabinet agencies, Florida doesn't, people don't realize Florida is the last state in the union that actually has an elected cabinet that comes together and has cabinet agencies, whether it be FDLE, OFR, SBA, Highway Safety Motor Vehicles, OIR, you name it, all these different companies. I think it's good. Look, governors may not like it, you know, because in other states, governors get to make all the decisions. And this one here, we still get to come together. I think it's good for the checks and balances because you don't know when you're going to get another Charlie Crist elected. So you need to have some of y'all laugh because y'all were here then. It was not good times in the state, but it's nice to have those checks and balances. So to all the cabinet agencies that work around the clock to make this state the best place to live and raise a family, thank you for your service, especially to our first responders who work 24/7, 365. To the entire team of the Department of Financial Services, thank you. I look at everybody in this room, including those on the dais. They wouldn't show up to work if it wasn't for our agency. We pay the bills, we sign the paychecks, and you know, and it's an honor to be such an important support to this state and keeping our trains running on time. Katie and the boys showed up as a surprise. They weren't supposed to be here today, so I'm not going to even look up. But thank you for being here. Katie was the first person I asked if I could do the job when Rick Scott asked me if I wanted the appointment, and it's always been a team effort ever since. So I love you. Thank you for being here. Theo and Johnny, as Commissioner called you out as knuckleheads, you're always going to be knuckleheads, but you're my knuckleheads, and thank you for being so supportive and helpful to your mom. Theo, I'm really impressed that you're able to get up this early and get dressed and be here on time. Theo's on the, I know he's going to hate I'm saying this, he's one tardy away from being like in school suspension. So anyway, it's very appreciative that you're here. I thought the only blood relatives I was going to have here were my nieces today. So Nicole, Callie, both of them, one's getting a master's degree, the other one's getting their bachelor's degree at Florida State. I love you. Thank you for being here. My brothers are at home. I don't know if they're watching. They probably aren't. So I'll have to send them the link from later. Thank you, Florida Channel. But Governor, from hurricanes to Surfside, you've stepped up in those disasters. I think more importantly, what the people in this room need to realize is how you've stepped up with our man-made disasters and the problems that we've had in this state that that took courage, that you took hits on. I was told by Stan Mayfield, a former colleague of mine who's passed away, Debbie Mayfield tells me, he says, you've got to show this process you can take a hit. And the one thing I'll say about Ron DeSantis, he has never stayed away from a fight. He has always been willing to stand up and take the hit. And if you're willing to take the hit, then others will follow. And I'm so proud of the accomplishments that we've had. And as the critics may want to fuss, that's the beauty of this process, as the critics may want to fuss over how their ox has been gored because they were greedy at the trough. And I always say pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. There's those that have taken advantage of the citizens of the state. They have taken advantage of the businesses of the state. They have taken advantage of people, and when they're vulnerable in time of need, Governor, you have not stayed away from getting in the fight and making a difference. And I'm just honored to be part of a supporting cast. I've seen you sign the legislation that's made Florida as great of a place as it is. 400,000 people wouldn't come to this state last year alone if it wasn't a place that was safe. It was a place that wanted to raise their family. And I tell all of our first responders, you don't have good schools, you don't have quality businesses, you don't have good companies if it's not a safe place. And that's why we've got to continue to support our first responders. You've been consistent with that, even to just most recently, the latest round of pay raises you've got, because they truly do not get paid enough for how they put their lives on the line every single day when they show up. To all the millions of insurance agent licenses this office issues, thank you for paying your fees to the state of Florida, because you make the trains run in this state. It's been an honor to be able to be your regulator, and I'm sure whoever the governor picks, you'll be in good hands with. We won't be far away. But I'm very proud. We're in the best fiscal health we've ever had in the history of the state. That's not an accident. It's not a sprint. It's a march. I'm very proud of the accomplishments, whether it be PTSD for our first responders or firefighter cancer protection. Again, issues that I think are important. Those men and women have our backs 24/7, and it's important for us to show them that we have their backs. And we made the hard changes, the tough changes, the tough decisions in order to drive down insurance rates in this state. And Governor, again, to your leadership, this is why we're on the path of better times in Florida, where it's not happening in California, Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, New York, New Jersey, or any of those other places you're never going to live. Very proud of what you've done to pay down debt. I never thought we would be in a position. I thought Rick Scott set, a bar of paying down debt, and you've been so consistent of capitalizing on the environment. He did a great job. You picked up the torch, and we're continuing to leave the state in a better place. So anyway, it's an honor to be able to call you colleagues, and I look forward to giving you a tour of the White House or the Capitol whenever I figure out how to get around in that process if CD1 decides to elect me. And I wish y'all all thank you for being here today. God bless.
All right, I think we're going to do a photo, and here's the proclamation that we did for you.
Yeah, I don't get to sign it.